Okay, hello and welcome to the video. My name is Wade Smith, and this video is about why you both should and should not have men versus women grappling in karate or jiu-jitsu classes. Because the reason not to is because it's a legal issue. You're going to get sexual harassment and sexual contact violations, and you're going to get women trying to sue men for touching them wrong or whatever during a grappling session. Uh, but on the other hand, women need to know that they're going to get beat by a man who has equal skill to them, literally 99 times out of 100. So maybe they do need to grapple a man once or twice in their life. But I can say, as a man and as a straight man, the most uncomfortable thing I have ever done in karate class or jiu-jitsu class, Okinawan karate class or Japanese jiu-jitsu class or Gracie jiu-jitsu class, was grapple with a woman. It is highly legally ill advisable, in my opinion, to have that scenario in your martial arts class, because somebody is going to get sued by the woman. And that was my fear and my discomfort in the situation. And I didn't want to do it. The only reason I did it is because if I didn't, the sensei probably wouldn't promote me to the next belt level. But it's like you think you're going to touch a hot girl or something like that, and you're thinking the same thing anyway. So it's like you're setting up a sexual misconduct situation. Um, and I'm not saying that everybody who grapples opposite gender is producing sexual misconduct, but you're asking for trouble by doing it. Um, Incidentally, I beat the woman black belt and a yellow belt that I grappled with whenever I was a karate third degree rather, brown belt in karate, and told that I was the equivalent of a multi-stripe brown belt in Gracie Jiu Jitsu. For some reason, they had me grappling. You would rotate and grapple everybody in the class. And on one occasion, I grappled a yellow belt woman, and I tapped her out with something as common and vulgar as the side headlock. All right, and by applying pressure across her temples, and she had to tap out because she was so small that I couldn't get much of anything else on her anyway. And and so the first thing that came to my mind is I happened to get side control mount, and I got my arm around her neck, and I just kept closing my hands grip over and over again. So this is the difference between a real grappler versus somebody who's just doing by the books. A real grappler has to adapt to whatever the situation is, and might even need to invent a new submission on the fly, or something they didn't even remember for the past 20 years that they've only done one time in their life. Might need to remember that one time and do it again there. And I had only ever used a side headlock one time in demonstration speed in my second sensei's class rather. So whenever I was at the Gracie Jiu Jitsu school for a year and a half, I tapped this girl out by side headlock, and that's how it went. What happened is it was an exercise. She started on her back in guard position, and I was supposed to pass her guard and then try to submit her, and I had 10 seconds to do it in, and I got her in 10 seconds. But a brown belt is supposed to beat a yellow belt in 10 seconds. I mean, come on, a brown belt's supposed to beat a purple belt in 10 seconds. But the point is, like, you might think that you want to grapple with the opposite gender because, oh wow, we get to touchy feely all over the hot girl or something. It doesn't work like that. It's a very uncomfortable and stupid situation that leads, like I said, has a risk of sexual misconduct being accused. And I didn't do it but one time there, and I would probably refuse to do it in the future. Not because I think women are less than men, but because I'm aware that you can get sued even though you both agreed to do the exercise. So, I would highly advise not to do that to any man who's in a cross gender grappling scenario in their martial arts school. Um, I don't know what to tell them other than that. But it is true that women need to see what it takes to beat a man. If for their own self defense, it takes more than they realize to beat a man, especially if the man is highly skilled. But I don't know how you're supposed to resolve that without the risk of sexual misconduct being accused by somebody, is what I'm getting at. Because those sexual misconduct lawsuits ruin your reputation whether or not you did anything wrong. And I didn't do anything wrong, by the way. But uh, those sexual misconduct lawsuits that do happen, and I'm not being sued, but I'm just saying you're ruined for life whether or not you did anything wrong just because somebody pointed their finger at you. And that's the point I'm making. So I would go with the Billy Graham rule: don't be alone in a room with a woman except your own wife, and even then, you should like pray to God or something before you are alone in a room with a woman, because you're gonna get accused. Believe me, that has happened to me. You're gonna get falsely accused of something if you're alone in a room with a woman. Just believe me, I've been there. Um, so don't do it. Don't do it, guys. Stay away from that situation.